Hello and welcome. Today we will be learning how to make your very own Dreamy Lucia Shawl. If this is your first time, thank you very much for stopping by. My name is Mirka and I make stitch and pattern crochet and Tunisian crochet tutorials. So if this is of your interest, please consider subscribing, liking this video and sharing it with your friends. So without further ado, let's dive in. Dreamy Lucia Shawl is a beginner-friendly shawl which uses a fingering weight yarn, which is held double, and it uses simple increases into the right hand edge and simple color work. So for my shawl, I used 3 different colors. I used cream, pistachio, and purple, and it has got a basic repetitive stitch pattern where you work a chunk of your rows in a first color, then small number of rows in second color, you change to the first color, and then you have a small number of rows where you change from your first color. One strand would be in the first color and the second strand would be in the second color, and then you progress into the next section where again large chunk will be done in the second color, then small section in your first color, then second color, and again small section where you've got 1 strand of each color. Then I decided to combine the patterns in a way that I would do A, B, A, C. So I've got the same section in the A color again, large chunk in A, small section in B, small section in A, and small section where I'm holding each strand of each color. So I repeated it a few more times, and then I got to a section where I was only using B and C, and I would be changing the color on your return pass at the beginning of your return pass, and I finished up with few rows of C. So this is the basic stitch pattern, and now we will be looking into this, how to make this in detail. For my sample, I used drops baby alpaca silk yarn, which are 50 grams skeins in beautiful color palette, and I used 7mm hook because I held 2 strands at once. For the demonstration today, I will be using woven cotton, which is also fingering weight yarn. I will be using red color and blue, and I will use 6.5mm Tunisian crochet hook. So we start with the red, and this will be my color A. We start with a slip knot and we chain 2. Okay, so 1 and 2, and then we turn our work and insert a hook into the back bump, yarn over, pull up a loop. So we've got 2 loops on our hook. Now we work a standard return pass, which is chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2. Because we only had 2 stitches, this brings us to the end of the row. So this was the foundation row of Tunisian crochet. Now we will be moving on to row 2, and we will work 1 increase stitch. So for this pattern, I used the increasing into the first front vertical bar. So we'll insert our hook into the first front vertical bar from right to left, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then we work edge stitch. So edge stitch is worked when we turn our fabric, insert the hook under both strands of the last stitch, we yarn over and pull up a loop. So now we've got 3 loops on our hook, while previously we had only 2, so we increased by 1. Now we work standard return pass. So again we will yarn over, pull through 1, this is also known as a chain 1, and then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and this is our row number 2. Now for row number 3, and this is our repeat row, we will work increase. So again, we will work our increase stitch into the first front vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then we've got 2 more stitches here. So we work Tunisian simple stitch. So Tunisian simple stitch is work from right to left. We insert a hook from right to left under the front vertical bar, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then we work our edge stitch or end stitch. And as you can see, now we've got 4 loops on our hook. Because the yarn is held double, it might seem like you have more loops on the hook, but truly there are 4. So this would be the first, your increase, Tunisian simple stitch, and end stitch. And now we are going to be working standard return pass of yarn over, pull through 1 or chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2. So this is row number 3, and this is our repeat row. So I'm going to repeat the row number 3 for a few more times, and then we will get to the first section where we change colors. So I will work a few more rows of this first section in cream, and I will meet you at the end of row where we will be changing color to color B. So we will work a few rows in the alternating color. Worked a few more rows, and now I'm at the end of the return pass, and I'm going to be changing my color A, the color B. So if you follow the pattern, which can be found on my blog and also in my Lovecraft shops, and I will leave the links to both in the description box below, you will be on the row 15. So we would work standard return pass on row 15 until the last 2 loops. So now we take the second color, and the way I like to do it is I only create a small loop without a slip knot. I place the loop on the hook and I pull through these 2 loops. That's how I like to change my color without an extra knot there, which bulks up the fabric. And now I take these 2 strands and I wrap them around the other strands, which are loose at the back, to secure them. So changing the color in this way when you are on the last 2 loops of your return pass ensures that the first loop of the next row is in your new color. If you worked the last 2 loops in your color A, and then you would try to change your color when you work the first increase stitch, you will find that the first loop of the row would be in the old color. So there would be a jog mismatch. That's why we change the color when we have the last 2 loops of return pass of the previous row. And now we continue with the color B, or with a contrasting color, and again we work increase stitch, and then Tunisian simple stitch into each stitch of the row all the way across until you get to your end stitch. You work the end stitch and standard return pass. So I'm going to work another row in color B, and then I meet you at the end of the return pass of the second row, where we will be changing to A again. again we are on last 2 loops of the return pass. We pick up our color A and we work the last yarn over pull through 2 with the color A. So in the pattern you would carry the color for a small number of rows, which is at the beginning it's 3 and then 2 before changing color. So if you prefer, you can carry it at the back without having to cut the yarn across 3 rows. But if you like to have your side of the shawl super neat without floats, then you can of course cut the yarn and then restart the yarn in the next section. So I will now work 1 row in color A, which represents this small section here, and at the end of the return pass I'll show you how to only change 1 strand of the yarn to get this beautiful effect where you've got 1 strand of A and 1 strand of B. Now we are going to be changing only 1 strand of color A to color B. So we separate the strands and we also separate the strands of the color B. So we align these together, hold them together, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So as you can see, now you've got 1 strand of each color, and you continue with the simple stitch pattern, increase into the first front vertical bar and working Tunisian simple stitches into each stitch. So you change the, if you follow the pattern, you change the colors on return pass of row 23. So you work a few rows of this with 2 different strands in 2 colors. Like so. So I will work 1 more row just for you to see the color effect that you get, and then we will be looking how to create the last section where you change colors on the front and return pass. Once we finish the basic pattern of changing 2 colors at the same time, now I will be showing you how to do the last section where we change the colors on the beginning of the return pass rather than at the end of the return pass as we've done so far. So, and again you will create a new different color effect, so you can see. So I rejoined the colors back to match together. So what we will do, we will work the forward pass in 1 color, again with continuing with our increases, until we get to the end stitch. And once we get to our end stitch, we insert the hook as normal, but rather than yarning over and pulling through with our color, first color, we pick up the second color, yarn over, pull through with our second color, and then what we do chain one, and we will continue the standard return pass in our second color. So we chain one, we yarn over, pull through two, like so, all the way to the beginning of the row. So we finished the row, and then we will continue with the color B. Again, with increase, we will work in the color B all the way to the end of our forward pass, working Tunisian simple stitches, and once we are at the end, working our edge stitch. Again, we insert under the two bars there, but instead of yarning over with the color B, we do it this time around with color A. Yarn over, pull through, and then chain one, yarn over, pull through two. Like so. And there you have it. There's the different type of color work. And the last stage of the pattern is your Tunisian simple stitch bind off. So that's what I'm going to demonstrate to you now. So for Tunisian simple stitch bind off, we start working into the next stitch as if we were working Tunisian simple stitch. We yarn over, pull up a loop, but we also pull the loop through the one that is already on the hook. So when we are binding off, we always retain only one loop on our hook. Okay, so again, we work into the next front vertical bar from right to left as if we were making Tunisian simple stitch, yarn over, pull through, and pull through the loop that is already on the hook. And we continue this all the way to the end, including the end stitch. As you can see, the top edge looks very neat, as if we had a chain stitches sitting on the top of the last row of Tunisian simple stitches. Okay, so I'm now binding off the last stitch. What we do now, we cut the yarn, pull through, and we weave the last end. Okay, and this is the basic techniques and color combinations and color changes for working your Dreamy Lucia shawl. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this tutorial useful. If you did, please let me know by liking this video, sharing with your crochet friends, and commenting in the section below what colors would you use for your Dreamy Lucia shawl. And I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye bye.